If ever you experience joy, that is coming from the Ahladini Shakti, the joy potency of the Lord, that is Radha. And the whole purpose of the spiritual journey is to touch that place of joy and ecstasy. That Krishna is the reservoir and the source of rasa. All rasa rests in Krishna. And who is Radha then? She is the complete relisher of that rasa. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna came wrapped in the glow of the golden glow of Radha. He also came as a devotee of Krishna. So if you think of a triangle, Radha, Krishna and devotee, this is the triangle. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became all three in one. Very good evening to everybody. And as we say in Vrindavan, Radhe Radhe. So let me begin with remembering my Gurudev, Om Vishnupad, 108 Tridandi Swami Shri Srimad Bhakti Shravan Tirth Goswami Maharaj, who brought me onto this path. I was a floating soul in the universe. I got aligned to the divine path as such an ignoramus when I first met him. I come from a Sikh background. Very little knowledge of Hindu deities and who's Radha, who's Krishna, who's Shiva. Very little knowledge. And so when I first was in his presence, I was just fascinated by his being. I haven't seen somebody so radiant, literally light emitting from his presence. And love. For no reason in his presence, tears well up. The heart chokes with love. So, very, very fortunate. And then gradually, I started learning and knowing about this very rich tradition, and I was initiated. So there's a practice of initiations that happen in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition where you are given these sacred and secret mantras that you practice. And of course the Naam, which is it's called the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. What is Shakti? What is Prakriti? What is Shringar? And what is Bhakti? And how they form a circle. Shakti is the animating force, the chitti of the universe. And when she takes form, she becomes Prakriti. And when she enjoys her creation through Shringar, she gets filled with rasa. And when she offers that sweetness back to source, that is Bhakti. So it's a beautiful circle becoming complete. So today's discussion is on Radha Bhav, Raas Leela and Geet Govind. And the common thread that runs between these three is Radha. And also the connection to this land, this Dham. So Puri is not understood merely as a geographical sacred site, but as a kshetra, a living field where consciousness manifests directly. The word kshetra itself in Sanskrit does not mean place alone. It means field or domain or locus of operation. Lord Jagannath is not a distant, transcendent deity, but immediately present, accessible and responsive in Puri Dham. So that's the beauty. It's very, very responsive. All the deities here are very, very responsive because it's a very alive and living field. Thousands of years. It is believed from Satyug, Lord Jagannath has been here. And some legend says that the tree in the temple, it is there from Satyug. Yes, the Kalpa Vriksha, the wish-fulfilling tree. which means you can't even calculate the number of years. So when there is a living presence and practice of worship that a land has seen over centuries and centuries and centuries. We heard stories from this century and that century. So you can see that. And it's done daily by thousands and thousands. And when the Rath Yatra happens, then this land is blessed by devotees who are, I don't know, at a single time, 10 to 12 lakh people at a single moment on that road, singing songs and dancing in devotion. So, yeah, that makes a difference to the land, isn't it? Apart from the fact that every saint of his time has visited this land, Guru Nanak came. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived here for 18 years, doing his Leela. And what was that Leela? He was expressing Radha Bhav. It is transcendent. And like I said, we can get distracted by the dirt and the filth and the commotion, the noise. Those are there. And it is said that those are the veils that the Dham puts on itself to distract you. And then you can pierce the veil. The Rasik pierces the veil. Or the Kshetragya, the knower of the field. The person who knows the field is called a Kshetragya. So let us learn to become Kshetragyas in this land. Even by mistake, let us not criticize anything in this land because it hurts the Lord. So the three places which are very great centers of Vaishnav sentiment are Vrindavan, Jagannath Puri, and Navadvip. And I have deep connections with all of them. We have a very beautiful temple of our Guru in Navadvip and in Vrindavan also. So, very fortunate to have this connection. So when we used to tell our Guru, it's so dirty, Vrindavan is so dirty. And he would just say, Ma, you can look at the place as karma bhumi or as a rasa bhumi. Depends on how you look at it. So when you look as a rasa bhumi, then the doors open, some veils are lifted. Now rasa everybody. So karma bhumi is a place where you do your work. Your place of work. And rasa bhumi is where you experience rasa. Bhumi means land. This land is called Shri Kshetra, which is the land of goddess Lakshmi. It's also called Purushottam Kshetra, the land of Lord Jagannath. Purush Uttam makes it Purushottam, the supreme and the best Lord, the best person. It is also called Shankha Kshetra. I showed, some of you have seen that, the conch, the shape of a conch. Puri Dham is in the shape of a conch, and the thin portion of the conch is extending into the sea. In the center of the conch is the temple. It is also called Bhauma Vaikunt or Martya Vaikunt. So Vaikunt is where Lord Vishnu resides. This place is called the earthly Vaikunt, the earthly home of Lord Vishnu. It is also called Das Avatar Kshetra, the 10 incarnations of the Lord. The first was as a fish. So this is where that incarnation started. So it has many different overlaying significances. Vaikunt is where Lord Vishnu stays, he's lying on that snake and the hood of the snake, no? And Lakshmi is at his feet and he's surrounded by an ocean of milk. That is Vaikunt. And Martyalok is the land of mortals. Earth is called the land of mortals or the land of where people die. Not on all universes people die. It is something special about this earth. So that is the Martyalok. So, but in this Martyalok, this place is Vaikunt. So if you see the center is the temple of Lord Jagannath, Balbhadra and Subhadra. And then you will see that there are different deities. You'll see a lot of Shivlingas and there are markings about different temples. And that portion which is coming out, it's going into the sea. So if you see the map of India, So if you see the triangle going into the sea. So let us now come to something very delicious, full of rasa, which is Radha. Radha Rani, we call her Radha Rani, Radha Thakurani. We have many names for her. Vrishabhanu Nandini, etc., etc. And many prayers addressed to her. Govinda Nandini, Radha Govinda Mohini, Govinda Sarvasva, Sarvakanta Shiromani. Radha is the one who gives pleasure to Govind and attracts the all-attractive Lord. She is the be-all and end-all of his existence and the crest jewel of all his consorts. Krishna, who enraptures the whole world, is a captive of Radharani's love. So see her Shakti. Yeah, on her little finger, Krishna dances. The rules are different for the rest of the world, and the rules are different when it comes to Radha. That is her supremacy. So who is she? The Lord of the entire existence, captured by the love of Radha. Who is she then? What a mystery. Devi Krishnamayi Prokta Radhika Paradevata Sarva Lakshmi Mayi Sarva Kanti Sammohini Para. Goddess Radhika, the eternal counterpart of Sri Krishna. She is the supreme deity. She is the ultimate source of all Lakshmis, the one whose beauty enchants all existence, including the all-attractive Sri Krishna. So her supremacy is always established. And if you go to Vrindavan, which is the land where Lord Krishna did his Leela, where he was born and he was raised, nobody says Krishna there. Everybody says Radhe Radhe. It's her name that rules. But then who is she? Why is she not even mentioned in the ancient scriptures? Krishna is mentioned, but she is not mentioned. So there are a lot of historians who say, oh, she was just made up. She's not been mentioned, so she didn't exist. But the Rasiks say, carry on, while we are floating in deep joy of her love. So there is always a mystery and a secrecy surrounding her. While Krishna stands luminous and explicit in Vaishnava literature, Radha remains unnamed and implicit. How come? Yet the entire Raas Leela collapses without her. While the Bahiranga Leela can be seen, recited and celebrated, Radha abides in the world of Antaranga Leela, deep in the groves of Vrindavan. So Bahiranga Leela is that which is seen by everybody in the open. So Krishna is growing up, he's breaking the milk pots, everything. This is Bahiranga Leela. Radha is hidden. Her Leelas are not for everyone. They are the confidential pastimes. So Antarang Leela means confidential pastimes. Only those who have a ticket to enter are allowed inside. So that is something about Radha. We tread with care. So what is her relationship with Krishna? It's always a mystery. There's a lot of debate around it. Who is she? So she is called Krishnamayi. We discussed in the morning that in that Nasadiya Sukta of Rig Veda, in the nothingness that was there, a desire arose to know itself. And then one became two. Radha became separate from Krishna, but she's nothing but filled with him, his essence, inseparable from him, as he is from her. So she is called Krishnamayi. Anybody who's completely suffused in the colors of Krishna, like Meera, they're called Krishnamayi. So there is a word called Ahladini Shakti. You may not have heard it, Ahladini Shakti. Radha gives Ahlad, which means joy. She is the giver of joy. Where does joy in this world comes from? If ever you experience joy, that is coming from the Ahladini Shakti, the joy potency of the Lord. That is Radha. And the whole purpose of the spiritual journey is to touch that place of joy and ecstasy. So this is a very interesting and important point here, that Krishna is the reservoir and the source of rasa. All rasa rests in Krishna, which is why he is so attractive. He's full of rasa. In his presence, you experience it because it's emanating. He is the storehouse. And then who is Radha then? She is the complete relisher of that rasa. What is the point of rasa if there's nobody to relish, right? All of us also relish to some extent and we say, this is so beautiful. But we can take only a little bit. Nobody can take the entire enjoyment of the rasa that Krishna is other than Radha. And then what happens? When she consumes that enjoyment, he is holding it, he is the holder of it. She is looking at him and she is tasting and enjoying. She is opposite him and she's enjoying that. And then Krishna looks at her eyes, into her eyes, and he sees that enjoyment of rasa that she is having. And then he says, what is she experiencing? Imagine a question arises in Krishna. So, she is the complete relisher of the rasa, and she is also the intensifier. So, Krishna is called Rasa Ghana Vigraha. Matlab, he is the concentrated form of rasa. When she comes in front of him, it gets even more concentrated. So, it is a movement, a constant movement and an enhancement that Radha causes when she is with Krishna, in Krishna. So one can say that he is the Supreme Lord, so he is everything, but even he has an edge. And she is also the distributor of that rasa. If we want it, we have to worship her and remember her. And she is very compassionate. She'll gladly give it to you. You go to Krishna and say, please give me your rasa, he will not give. You go to Radha, and if you ask, she will gladly give it to you. She has enough and more. So the story is that there was this, it is explained in this way, that there was this man who was very fond of jackfruit. So he went to the market and it was not jackfruit season, and he finds a big juicy jackfruit in a shop and he wants to buy it. Shopkeeper is not selling the jackfruit to him. So he keeps asking and pestering, I'll give you anything you want. Give me the jackfruit. He says, no, I can't. So why? Because I've already sold it to somebody. He said, but I can give you double the price and I can give you anything you want. So he also becomes stubborn now. He said, I'll give you everything. He said, even then I can't give it to you because it's already sold. He said, then what do? I want the jackfruit. There's only one way to get this jackfruit. Fall at the feet of the one who has bought it. If that person gives it to you, even a small piece, then you have hope. So that is the story about Radha. He's already sold to her completely. So if you want a piece of him, go to her. Her grace will work for you. Without Radha Rani, Krishna's bliss has no tasting agent. In the morning we were speaking about Vimarsha, the energy that makes you experience. Shakti is also about experiencing. So Krishna knows himself when somebody experiences him and he sees the reflection of that in that other person. Then he recognizes himself, oh, I am that. So that Radha helps him to find. With her Mahabhav, she reflects him back to himself. And when that happens, his rasa increases. So can you see the escalating? It's ever escalating. So the astronomers, don't they say that the universe is still expanding? That is the play of Radha and Krishna's rasa. They're still finding the edges of their bliss. So while he is pure consciousness, the Purush, in Vrindavan, he is absorbed in amorous pastimes. Where else will you find the divine masculine fully absorbed in amorous pastimes? Very flirtatious, very naughty, very mischievous, stealing butter from the homes of the gopis, breaking their pots, pulling at their clothes when they are walking in the forest and hiding. All kinds of things, antics. And they all get angry with him and they scold him and they shout at him. But secretly, every time they come out of their house, they are hoping he will do something. So it's a lot of fun going on in Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, the gopis have two camps. One is the camp of Radharani and another is the camp of Chandravali. Yeah, and there are a lot of Sakhis of Radha and there are a lot of Sakhis of Chandravali. And both are on the lookout for Krishna. And whenever he wants to go to meet Radha at night, so there's a very big network of spies in Vrindavan. Minute to minute information is given where he's moving. So the spies of Chandravali inform her and she quickly says, ambush him. So he's ambushed on the way and taken to her grove to spend some time with her. And then he forgets himself and he's having a good time. And he forgot that he made an appointment with Radha to be there at a particular time. And she gets angrier and angrier and angrier as she waits. Early morning, he remembers, oh my God, and he knows he's in deep trouble. So he quickly wears his clothes and he runs to meet her in her grove. And her Sakhis, when he's trying to rush in, they say, stop, you have no entry. But he says, why? And he falls at her feet and he begs her and says, I'm so sorry. Actually, this happened and that happened on the way and I had to deal with so many things and I finally made it here. So she says, really? In his hurry, he didn't realize that instead of wearing his dhoti, he wore Chandravali sari and came. So all these things go on and then he's vanished and punished and she will not see him. So she goes into a divine sulk. And then he is in very big trouble. So all these pastimes go on. These are the confidential pastimes. They're not for everybody. Only the Rasik will understand. Otherwise, people will misunderstand these things. So that is why even the Vaishnav saints, they keep this only for confidential discussions with the senior devotees. In fact, Geet Govinda is not recommended to be read also, except the first part of it, which talks about the Dasavatar. The others are not read or sung in public because it's very, very confidential. Now we have to understand two very important words, Vishaya and Ashraya, object and subject. It's a little technical, but very important to understand. Krishna is the object of Radha's love. So, he is Vishaya, the one who is experienced. He is the one who is experienced. So that is called, so he's the object, no? He's the object of our love, the object of our attention. She is the abode of the love. Where does it rest, that love? It has to have a resting place, no? She is the resting place of all his senses, of all his rasa. So she is the ashraya, or the abode, the one who experiences. Yeah? So there is the one who is experienced and the one who experiences. If this lands, then from here it becomes easier. Radha is Mahabhav Swarupini Ahladini Shakti. So there are many bhavs. Bhav is sentiments of love. Stage by stage by stage, it becomes more and more intense. Finally, it reaches a state which is called Mahabhav, which nobody on earth other than Radha has held in her. Because it is so intense that anybody else's body will explode. Only Radha experienced Mahabhav. And she is the Shakti by which Krishna's rasa is tasted to its ultimate limit. No, when we long for somebody to understand us completely. No? Don't we have that longing in our hearts? So that person is very dear to you. And she is the fullest expression of bliss. When Krishna sees Radha, he is astonished by her love. He literally does a double take. What is she experiencing? Why can't I feel what she is feeling? There's something missing for me. But poor thing, he's an object. He can't feel. She's this, she's Ashraya. Only she can feel. So God has a limit. So, but as Vishaya, he cannot taste his rasa or know himself as Radha can. So while he is the Lord of the universe, as Vishaya, he does not have what Radha has. And to a lesser extent, what the Gopis have. So he hits an edge. The Lord hits an edge. Can you imagine the power of Radha's love? So what happens when Krishna as Vishaya witnesses Radha's love as Ashraya? He encounters something even greater than himself. Is that even possible? She experiences me more deeply than I experience myself. Divine astonishment. He becomes the seeker rather than the enjoyed. He wants to experience his sweetness through her eyes. So the object wants to become a seeker. He says, I want to be the Ashraya. I want. So he wants that flip now. Because he realizes no matter who I am, Rasagana Vigra, Radha is having all the fun as the enjoyer of that. Radha's love makes him feel incomplete. Radha's love is revealed as even more supreme to Krishna's divinity, so that even he becomes curious about love. He cannot believe the boundless heart that Radha has. He gives her trouble, but every time she wins. So something interesting is happening here. Krishna stands at the edge between sovereignty and surrender. And this is where the story of Mahaprabhu comes in. Why did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come? He was Krishna. Why did he come as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? What was the reason for this incarnation? This is the reason. To taste her love, he must lose his identity as the supreme enjoyer. Divinity without devotion is incomplete. What does my devotee feel? The curiosity cannot be solved intellectually. It requires embodiment. He's finding a limit here. I want that experience. And I see Radha enjoying. What is it that I see in her eyes? When she looks at me, she experiences something. And I don't know what it is. I only know it's very exquisite. So he cannot solve this puzzle intellectually. This puzzle can be solved only by embodiment. He has to come in that form. He has to embody that form of the devotee, the form of Radha. So, that was the plan of his incarnation as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. To fulfill this longing, Krishna embodied as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is Krishna came wrapped in the golden glow of Radha. Krishna is black in color. But when he came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he was golden. He had a golden complexion. So, that is Radha. He also came as a devotee of Krishna. So, if you think of a triangle, Radha, Krishna and devotee, this is the triangle. As Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became all three in one. It's incomprehensible, this incarnation. And it is in this land that he did his Leela. The world had an experience of Radha Bhav, the most secret Bhav, in this very land, Puri Dham. So we have only read legends about Radha. Oh, she used to experience Mahabhav, and it is a very difficult Bhav to hold. When Mahaprabhu came, this was only 550 years ago. So it's historical and witnessed, where her bhav was witnessed. How painful it was in the end when, when she is separated from him and he doesn't come back. What excruciating feelings of separation that she went through. Everything was experienced by Mahaprabhu. And that was the debt he owed Radha. Because she suffered in separation for so long, he was indebted to her. So he said, I will come back and experience that suffering myself. So it is a very painful part to read in the life of Mahaprabhu, that intensity of his experience and how his body the joints in his body would open. When he felt Krishna is not here, when he felt the viraha, all the joints, he was very tall, all his joints in his body would open and he would become unconscious. And all his devotees would sing the Naam. And after a long time, he would gain back consciousness. And when he felt that Krishna is inside his heart, because he was in the Bhaav of Radha, he's inside, then his body would contract and become like a tortoise, small. Everything would go inside. And then his devotees had to take a lot of care of him to bring him back. So like that. So this bhav has been witnessed in this land and documented. So Radha and the Gopis, they have Madhurya Bhav, the conjugal rasa. Krishna is their lover, their beloved. Krishna can be there as your child. Krishna can be there as your friend, as your master. So there are different gradations. But the ultimate and the most ripened form is when he's your beloved. Krishna as the beloved, the epitome of eros. So that was the bhav of Radha. So Madhurya Bhava can be expressed in two ways. Swakiya, which is enjoyed by his queens like Rukmini and Satyabhama, which is relationship with Krishna as a rightful beloved, stable and present. So the queens who were married to him, there were many, 16,000. But the Bhaav, they loved him dearly. Rukmini loved him dearly, Satyabhama too. The Bhaav they held was, Krishna is my husband. I am Krishna's wife. So there is a claim in the relationship, a legitimate relationship. So when you are husband and wife, there are certain duties. If he comes home late, she can ask him. She has every right to ask, why were you late? Where did you go? And he has to answer. So that is Swakiya Bhav. Then there is Parakiya Bhav, love beyond social bounds. Nothing external sustains it, which the gopis have and which Radha has. It's not a legal relationship, no, it's illicit love. They're all married women having their own husbands, and yet they love him. What kind of love is that? It's immoral, people would say. In Vrindavan, everything flips. Why is morality created? Who creates morality? It is meant for people who cannot follow the natural pulse, spanda of the universe. For such people, you need to have rules and regulations. No? Do not spit on the road. Why does that have to be written? Do not pluck flowers. Do not walk on the grass. You will see in different places in India written. Because people will do that. So to contain that and to keep people within the confines of dharma, rules are made, including marriages. But Vrindavan is a celestial place. It's not an earthly place, so it does not follow earthly rules. So these women are transgressive as per earthly rules. But we must remember that all these cowherd women, these gopis, they are all Atmaram sages, realized sages. In his incarnation as Ram, when Sita was kidnapped by Ravan, and he was in deep lamentation, roaming the forests of Dandakaranya, There were these thousands of enlightened rishis who were deep in their meditation. And who were they meditating on? They were meditating on Ram as the eternal presence. And then a current runs through the forest, and they find that their Lord, who is Atma Ram, which means beyond all, and always equanimous, is wailing and lamenting in the forest. Hey Sita, where are you? And they can't wrap their heads around that. They said, how come? And they have reached that state, the final state of enlightenment. And then a ripple passes through their hearts that the way Ram is lamenting for Sita and feeling this deep loss and grief for Sita, this connection that he has, we also want him to feel that for us. Have that connection with us. See, now they were on that stage of Atma Ram, and then something extra gets created and they become incomplete. And Ram understands that. So one of the reasons of his lamentation in the forest is also to reach these rishis. And the message he gives them is, in this incarnation as Ram, I am the husband of only one wife. I am loyal to only one wife. But I will come back again. And I will fulfill all your wishes. And it is these rishis who come as gopis. So they are not illiterate women as we deem them to be. Just cowherd women, milkmaids. Very, very realized. And the scriptures, all the sacred scriptures come as gopis. All the mantras come as gopis. All the rivers, sacred rivers come as gopis. Even Lord Shiva came as a gopi. But he was caught. He was in disguise. He forgot to take off his snakes. So he was badly caught. In the Raas dance, he entered the Raas. Yeah, that's also there. So then Krishna said, because he wants to experience. So then Krishna told him that you can't enter the Raas. That's not possible. But you can guard the Raas Sthali. So there is a Gopeshwar Shiva statue in Vrindavan outside of the Raas Sthali, where he is the guardian of the Rasa dance. Which of these bhavas you like? Such naughty women. So there's a story of a sage who was sitting one day and counting his beads. Every day he would count the beads. That I have to do so many number of japas of the Naam. And he was sitting by a wall. On the other side of the wall, two milkmaids were sitting and doing the calculation of their daily earnings for that day. And every time they were counting, they were falling short of some money. So one of those girls said to her friend that, we are falling short for 1 kilo of milk. Where did that go? So the other girl said, oh, that I gave to my boyfriend. So she said, so what about the money? She said, silly girl, you don't do calculations with your beloved. And the sage is sitting and counting his beads. And he just stops there, frozen. What am I doing? And that is the moment he drops his beads and he becomes Atmaram. So you will notice in the life of any great saint, at some point in the final, for that final push, a woman will appear. Notice that in the stories. And give one final push. So this Parakiya Bhav is very transgressive. It has to be kept in secret, no? So when you have a secret love affair, then it is very intense. You are at home doing all the worldly things, taking care of your children, your in-laws, your husband, cooking, cleaning, everything. But not even for a moment you stop thinking of your beloved. And it cannot be shown, it cannot be expressed. So it is way more intense, way more intense. And it is love without guarantees. It is the most risky love. So when Radharani was married, and her mother-in-law and sister-in-law were always keeping watch on her, because they knew that there is this black, dark boy in the village who always comes around and wants to hang around our daughter-in-law. So they're always very vigilant. And they don't let her step out of the house. So she'll be cooking in the house and weeping. But she cannot weep publicly, if she's caught weeping. So she will create a lot of smoke in the stove. And then she will say, oh, my eyes are smarting and that's why the water is flowing. So all kinds of tricks. She is Mahabhav Shiromani. She is the perfect Ashraya of Krishna's Rasa. So if he is the Rasa, she is the perfect container. And it's no joke to be able to contain the Rasa that Krishna holds. The container has to be something very, very special. So therefore, she is a merciful guru to all who worship Krishna. She is the doorway. She holds the capacity to bestow love in the devotee's heart. She is the fullest expression of devotion in Madhurya Bhav. The fullest tasting of Madhurya Bhav is through Shringar Ras. And she is the queen of Shringar Ras. We actually discussed that in the morning. And her love is in the Parakiya Bhav. In Vrindavan, there is no Swakiya Ras. It is the highest, most intense form of love, outside of rules and regulations, sacred disobedience and radical fidelity. Everything is at stake for the gopis, for Radha. Everything is at stake. It is hidden and secret, full of risks, most vulnerable form of love, deepest longing. The viraha, which is the feeling of separation, is even more intense in Parakiya than it is in Swakiya. Because there's no claim on the beloved. If he drops you and moves on, as Krishna did, he didn't drop them, but he moved on. They just left. They have no claim on him to say that you can't do this. This is an infringement of an agreement. There is no agreement. He can leave you at any time. And yet that love is asking, surrender everything to me. How many of us can pass that test of that kind of love? Parakiya Bhav has a fierce surrender. I will love you even if you neglect me, abandon me, forget me. Do what you will with me, I am always yours. A Jungian therapist will say, there's a problem here. There's a problem here. I see the problem. Look at this picture. What do you see here? Full of Shringar Rasa. All of the gopis were exquisitely beautiful. They're all Lakshmis. Sri Radha is Mahalakshmi herself. There are two bhavas of Mahalakshmi. In the form of Mahalakshmi, she exudes opulence. In the form of Radha, she exudes love, not opulence. Madhurya. Aishwarya and Madhurya. Aishwarya Rai and Madhuri Dixit. That way you will remember. The two film stars, very famous. Though she is Mahalakshmi, the Aishwarya, that is the opulence aspect, is kept in the background. It is never exhibited. What do you see in these pictures? This is Krishna as the trickster. When he is banished, every other day he is banished because he does all naughty things. So Radha refuses to meet him. She goes, it's called Man. She does Man, which is the very delightful, sweet sulk that she does. Hot pride. I will not see you. Tell that fellow not to enter. Sakhi stand guard and say, off you go. Then he will actually fall at the feet of some gopi and say, help me, help me, help me. I'm dying. I will die if I don't see Radha. Krishna falling at the feet of a gopi and requesting her to help. Then she will say, all right. Then she will bring out her clothes and disguise him as a gopi. Sometimes he becomes a garland seller and goes to, say, around her house selling garlands. I'm selling garlands, beautiful garlands. I have special garlands. I have such a special garland that if you put that on your beloved, he will never leave you and he will never cheat you. So Radha hears that. Hey, call that girl inside. She's selling a special garland. And she calls him in. And then he says, oh, you poor thing, I can feel your pain. You have a very difficult boyfriend. But I have a solution for you. I have this garland. If you put this on him, then he will be under your thumb. So she says, all right, give it to me. So she says, give it to my Sakhi. So he says, no, nobody else can touch it. Only you can touch it. She's trying to come closer. So then she says, okay, come give it to me. So as he comes closer, he quickly puts the garland on her. And as his fingers touch her body, she has this horripilation. And she says, only one person can give me this experience. So then she realizes that, oh, this is Krishna. He tricked me. So like that. See, they're decorating Krishna as a gopi. So all this is going on in Vrindavan. Whereas in the rest of the world, he's being worshipped as as the Lord. And so there is reverence. In Vrindavan, there is no reverence. Reverence is not allowed. Only intimacy. That's the difference. You can't say, oh my great Lord in Vrindavan. The Raas Leela. And that was a very special dance that happened only once in Vrindavan. Nothing can be more special than that dance that happened. So the young gopis had performed a very vigorous vow to Goddess Katayani for one whole month with a specific intention. Please give Krishna to us as our husband. Each gopi saying, please give me Krishna as my husband. That is the prayer they do with lot of austerities for 1 month. And Krishna knows what is the Bhaav in their hearts. So he promises them that I know your desire, your resolve is approved by me, it will be fulfilled. Return to Vraja. In the coming nights, each one of you will enjoy with me. So they're very delighted. But the time is not coming. When will he do it? When will he do it? When will he do it? When will the day come? They're all waiting. A year passes. And then one autumnal night, there's a particular night, which is Sharad Poornima, the Poornima, full moon of Sharad. Deep into the night, when they are all in their homes, he begins to play a very special tune on his flute. And that tune, if the gopi hears, there is nothing she can do but run. Drop everything and begin to run towards that sound. It is such a sound. It's a very special sound. So Krishna's flute, what he played, this is also another whole topic. Why is it so enticing when Krishna plays his flute? But on that particular night, only the gopis heard the flute. Their husbands were there, the other family members were there. Nobody else heard, only they heard. Because their ears were ready. Their hearts were ready. They had uninterrupted meditation on Krishna all the time. So somebody was breastfeeding her child, somebody was massaging her husband's feet, somebody was feeding their in-laws, somebody was cleaning the utensils. In whichever state they were, they just dropped everything and they ran without any fear of consequence. They just ran to the forest, following the sound of the flute. Because this was a call to the eternal longing. So many of us hear the call, but do we drop everything and run? In this moment, if we hear that flute calling us, will we drop everything and go? Stake everything that we have. Because they know, if we go now, we may never be able to come back. We are staking everything. And they found Krishna standing under the vata, under a tree. And what does he do? He says, "Oh, welcome, fortunate ones. What brings you here at this hour? This is not the right time for an honorable young woman to be walking alone in the forest. The night is dangerous. The forest is not safe. Have you come to see the beauty of Vrindavan? If so, you have seen it. Now please return to your homes. Your husband, children, families must be searching for you. A woman's duty is to serve her family faithfully. Even if you feel affection for me, one should not abandon social and moral responsibilities. Therefore, return to Vraja." Very formally, he is speaking to them. And they're just, what's wrong with him, kind of, they're just looking at him. He just called us. So the gopis say, "Do not speak cruel words to us. You are the true object of all love. Husbands, sons, and relatives are dear only because of the self. And you are the self of all beings. We have abandoned everything for you. How can you ask us to return? You're not merely a village boy, you are the Lord dwelling in all hearts. Place your lotus hands upon us and relieve the fire of separation you yourself have ignited. Do not reject us. We are your servants." So they make a plea. Now we are not going back. We are not going back. You have called us. Now, if you want to even abandon us at this point, we are not going back. We have come here for you. There's nothing, we know there's nothing beyond you. Everything else is temporary. You are the one who is eternal. So I think we've made the right choice and we are staying. Now do what you will with us. That satisfies, because this was like the final test. So it satisfies Krishna's heart. And then begins an amazing dance called the Raas Leela dance, where there are thousands and thousands of gopis dancing with Krishna. The dance takes place for one night of Brahma. It is cosmically immense in duration, but experientially it is one night. When consciousness is absorbed in ecstasy, time collapses. In concentric circles, they are dancing. In the center, Radha and Krishna are dancing, and around them there are many circles of gopis. And you will see that there is one Krishna with every gopi. Can you see? Vaishnava acharyas have said, it is not, normally it is said that Krishna expanded himself into many forms to dance with each gopi. But that was not so. He was moving so fast between the gopis that everyone thought he's with me. That was the speed with which he was moving and how they were dancing. So he's with Krishna, he's with Radha in the center, and he's also with each of the gopis. So all the gopis are satisfied because he had made a promise, I will enjoy with you. And there he is with me and he's dancing with me. So each gopi can see that Krishna is with me. Only Radha can see that he is moving with everyone. And then something happens in the dance. In the heart of the gopis, they begin to think, Krishna is dancing with me. See, he's with me. He's not there. He's not there. He's not there. He's with me. The minute this thought comes, they start to experience the saubhagya, the good fortune. So tests never end. The minute they say, I'm so fortunate, I am more fortunate than those who didn't get Krishna. So what happened? Their minds went to the place where Krishna is not, rather than where Krishna is. These are very subtle things of the mind. And suddenly, Krishna vanishes from the Ras dance. He's not there anymore. And in the middle of the dance, when something like this happens, obviously, and if you can see the gods on their chariots, everybody comes to witness this amazing play. Nothing like this has ever been witnessed before. So all the gods are throwing rose petals and also witnessing this amazing spectacle. And this kind of dance was done by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu during Rath Yatra. During Rath Yatra, he would dance in front of the Rath, whirling round and round and dancing. And tears streaming from his eyes. And the tears were like torrents. all those people around him, and he would be whirling so fast that he was like a blur. And everybody's clothes were drenched by those tears. It's not like one tiny trickle that comes down in our eyes when we, these are torrential tears. The tears of Radha are torrential tears, even more. And then Krishna comes back and completes the dance with them. And then after the dance, which is supposed to have gone on, it says one night, but whatever. And then exhausted, they all enter into the Yamuna waters and do some sport in the water just to, release their tiredness and to refresh themselves. And then Krishna says, after the Raas Leela, I am not able to repay my debt to you, even within the lifetime of Brahma. So the Lord is saying, I will not be able to repay the debt. Your love for me is spotless and beyond reproach. Let your own virtue be your reward. Because their love is unconditional, socially unprotected, motivated by love alone and free of expectations and calculations. They don't want anything, they just want his happiness. So the true love in Vrindavan, the gopis have in their hearts is, what can I do to make you happy? It's not about, can you do something to make me happy? So Radha has no personal mood of her own. The mood she holds is the one that Krishna will enjoy the most in that moment. So even the man that she does, the divine sulk, she does it because it enhances Krishna's desire for her and he likes that play. So she does. Everything is for his pleasure. We do little bit, we want so much back in return. That's the human love. And this story of Radha's love has been recorded in a phenomenal poem called the Geet Govind, which was written by a poet called Jaidev. In Navadip, there is a temple, big temple. I've been there several times, which is supposed to be the house of his elder brother, where he used to stay. And there are inscriptions and there are all kinds of things to show that he lived here. And also there is a belief that he lived in the area near Shantiniketan. Anyway, what is important is what he wrote. And he was a very great Vaishnava, writing beautiful poetry. And he was a renunciant. And there was this one Brahmin somewhere in the south who didn't have a child. So he prayed a lot to Lord Jagannath to give him a child, and a daughter was born. And when she became young girl, this Brahmin got a dream that he wanted to get her married. That go and give your daughter, take your daughter to Lord Jagannath. And he said, she has to be married to a Brahmin who lives in this place. So that devout Brahmin took that girl, her name was Padmavati, to this land where he lived. And he said that I have come here because of this reason. It's Lord Jagannath's instructions. He said, oh my God, I am a renunciant. I have nothing. I cannot take care of your daughter. So he refused. So the girl stayed there with the father. And then the father said, I'm leaving you here. Let Lord Jagannath do what he will. And then Jaidev realized that I cannot let this girl just be here. So he agreed to the marriage and they got married. And it was a phenomenal marriage. She was his muse. And then he wrote this epic poem. It is the most erotic poem ever written. Jaidev did something very, very bold in this poem, which had never been done before. He made Radha central to the story, not Krishna. Radha was always a peripheral. Because she is the beloved of Krishna, therefore we love her too. But this, he reverses it here. She was given theological prominence for the first time. And again, erotic love is shown as explicitly, it is shown as sacred. The poetry is so beautiful, it is in Sanskrit, so lyrical, so evocative. Viraha is elevated at the spiritual as the spiritual peak. So in this poem, the gist of the poem, it is springtime in Vrindavan, and the soft breeze carries the scent of sandalwood which comes from the sandalwood forest down south. And it further heightens the erotic mood of the gopis and Krishna. And all of them are enjoying with him. He's having a fun time. And Radha is waiting for him. He had promised and he forgets and he's cavorting with so many beautiful damsels. And then she goes into Man and she will not have him anymore. And the rest of the poem is about the desperate longing and the burning separation that Radha is experiencing for Krishna, but her pride will not let love overtake. And Krishna is pining for her. And they are sending messages to each other through messengers. So the poem is all about that. Her pride is not melting. No matter what he does, her pride is not melting. She will not give up her pride. She will not forgive him. She says, enough. Even if I die like this is enough. What does he do? His desperation reaches unspeakable heights now. Such beautiful poetry. Lalita lavanga lata parisilana komala malaya samire. I mean, look at the way the lilt of when you hear the songs in the tender Malaya breeze, softened by caresses of clove creepers, where clusters of bees hum and cuckoos sing in forest bowers. Hurry wanders here in the juicy fullness of spring, dancing with young maidens. Priye charushile, milita drishe, vilasita ruchire. So it goes like that. Now this is the most famous line, because there is one line in the Geet Govind that was not written by Jaidev, but by Krishna himself. So when he's writing the poem, and when Radha's man is not getting broken, when Krishna finally reaches her, he asks Radha's forgiveness and says, place your foot on my head. But when he came to writing that line, his pen dropped. He said, I cannot write that line. How can Krishna, the Lord of the entire universe, ask somebody to put their feet on his head? So he's perspiring, he can't do it. So he just drops his pen and tells Padmavati, I'm going to take a bath in the river. And he leaves the house and goes for taking a bath. Sometimes when you're walking, your head gets cleared. So he goes out of the house. After some time, he comes back, goes straight to the room, writes a line, and asks Padmavati, is the food ready? She says, yes. He sits down, she serves him the food, he eats the food. Then he goes to the room to rest. She fans him for some time. And then he takes a nap. And then she comes out and starts cleaning. She starts eating. Because she, as a good wife, she eats after she has fed the husband. At that point, Jaidev enters the house. And she's so confused. She's looking at the bedroom and then she's looking at the door. And she says, and he looks at her eating and says, what happened to you today? Are you so hungry that you couldn't wait for me? She said, but you already ate. You came, you went into the room, you wrote something. And then Jaidev, when he hears that, he says, oh my God. He immediately gets what happened. He runs to see, and in a very slanting handwriting, a line which is not his handwriting. Everything about Krishna is slanting, crooked. Nothing about him is straight. Yeah, if you see even how when he stands, it is not a straight pose. It's slanted, crooked in 3 places. So he writes this line, Smara garala khandanam, mama shirasi mandanam, dehi pada pallava mudaram. This is the line that Jaidev was not able to write. And Krishna came and wrote it himself. It says, put your feet on my head. So if you will see in these pictures, by any pretext, Krishna wants to touch Radha. Sometimes he will decorate her hair, He will comb her hair. Sometimes he will put ornaments on her. He will paint her feet. In the pretext of painting her feet, he will touch her feet. So may the blessings of Radha be with all of us as we remember her today with great reverence. Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye. O Radha, golden as molten gold, Queen of Vrindavan, daughter of Vrishabhanu, O divine goddess, beloved of Hari, I bow to you. And so it is.